I just sold $4,128 worth of Samsung stock, and here's why. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the future, which has now become the present. My online name is Bootbyte, and my real name is Torbjørn Bayam. And in today's video, I'm going to explain to you why I sold my Samsung shares. So first of all, let's take a look here. So yesterday, I sold $4,128 worth of Samsung stock. Now, I sold them at $2,064 per share. So yeah, I had two shares. So why did I sell? Well, we have to go back and look at why I even bought Samsung in the first place. So if we look at the Samsung chart here on Yahoo, we can see on the 5-year view that Samsung had quite a struggle. Like, it came from 21 in the bull market, where everybody remember that bull market. It was a great time. And then the party stopped, and 2022 we had a bear year. And then in 2023 it started shifting for some stocks, not all. And then here in 2024, again in August, Samsung kind of peaked, and then it just nosedived. So I bought my first shares on the 29th November of 2024. So that's, that's around here. And the reason I bought Samsung was because I could see back then that Samsung was a solid company. It had its struggles back then, but I was still convinced that Samsung is still a good company. They make great products, and I believed in their ability to turn the ship around. And I saw an opportunity to make a more risky investment, but with a higher return in a shorter period of time. So that's essentially why I bought. I didn't buy Samsung stock because I wanted to hold it for many years. I bought it because I thought it was a good opportunity to make my money back, double my money essentially within a shorter period of time. Now, I didn't know how much time it would take. I didn't know whether it would be a year or 2 years or something like that, but I was willing to roll the dice on Samsung because I didn't fear becoming a back holder as much as if you are trading some low tier stock. Now, I wouldn't call Samsung a low tier stock. It's a big company. So even if I were to lose out, even if my investment were to go lower, then I didn't fear becoming a complete backholder, because I was still long-term convinced that Samsung stock would shift around. I didn't see a possibility where Samsung would essentially just fall to nothing. Now, of course, with stock and investment, you can make a prediction, but you never really know what's going to happen. But I bought the Samsung stock because I wanted to double my money within a period of time. I thought there was a good buying opportunity because it had fell from just back in August from 1,400, almost 1,500 to 900. So quite a hefty fall within a very short period of time. That's 33%. So yeah, I thought there was a good opportunity to at least get my money back and or at least get a good return on investment. And so I wanted to double my money essentially. So that was my thesis to buy Samsung. And then disaster struck. On the 3rd of December to the 4th of December in 2024, South Korean, there was a martial law crisis in South Korea, where this guy essentially triggered the martial law declaration. And I read about it in the news, and I was like, well, that's not going to hold. Like, South Korea is a solid country. It's a Western country. Kind of democratic. So I thought, there's no way that South Korea is going to shit. So I doubled down and I bought Samsung stock on the 5th of December, because I was like, there's no way this is going to affect South Korea long term. I was pretty convinced that they would just get the country in order and everything would turn around. And essentially, when you're buying stocks for a particular country or a sector, like Samsung is a heavy company in South Korea. It's one of the largest, if not the largest company in South Korea. And like, everybody has an interest in South Korea to make Samsung work because they depend so much on it. So I thought that this was a even better opportunity to get in. And you can also see that I actually, on the 29th of November when I bought, I got it for 903.50 cents. And here I bought it for $954.5 dollars. So I got in at a better trade, and that was like here, about here, between these two. So almost near the bottom. So pretty good timing. Of course, you could never know, but I saw this and thought there's no way this is going to last. So I doubled down on my South Korean investment. Again, I thought Samsung was a solid company. I thought there was a good opportunity, and then crisis struck. And when there's a lot of fear, and especially irrational fear, like it could be a good opportunity to buy. So that's essentially what I did. I doubled down and I bought one more stock. Now, that's almost $2,000 worth of Samsung stock that I bought, and that's a lot of money for me. I'm not a wealthy guy. I'm just a normal guy. So this was a kind of big bet in my whole stock portfolio. But again, I was willing to roll the dice because I was pretty convinced that I wouldn't become a back holder, and I was pretty convinced that South Korea would get the whole political crisis in order, and was also pretty convinced that Samsung would make a recovery. So I bought one more Samsung stock, and I did it to double my money. That was my whole thesis. I wanted it to hit 2,000 and around $56. That was my price target. Now, I'm a big believer in when you make an investment, you have to say, well, what kind of investment is this? Is this a long-term buy, or is this just a short-term trade? Or is this like, what's my plan with this trade that I'm doing? Because you gotta have a plan when you're buying a stock. You gotta have like, why are you buying it? You can't just buy it and then say, oh, well, I'll see what happens. No, you have to beforehand think about what kind of trade you want to do. So I wanted to make a trade to double my money and make a more risky kind of trade. But let's take a look at Samsung because you cannot buy the Samsung stock directly on the Korean market. It's not open. So if we look at the Samsung website, we can see here for European Union residents, that's me. I have to buy the Samsung Electronics GDR, and then we can see that there are ticker symbols for the GDRs with common stock. There's also preferred stock. Now I bought common stock. I usually only buy common stock, and that was ticker SMSN, and that's on the London Stock Exchange. So that's what I bought. So that's what I did. I bought the Samsung stock, and I bought this GDR version on the London Stock Exchange. And essentially, this GDR version, there was another thing that kind of, boggled me back when I bought it. And that is that there isn't a lot of trading volume. You can see here that the volume is not, it's not that much. There's not really that much volume. Like, it's not the most liquid stock you can buy in the entire world. So that was also a thing I kept in mind. It was not a concern to me because I only had 2 shares. So I wasn't concerned. I was pretty convinced that I, of course, would be able to liquidate my holdings. And that's a thing you want to keep in mind when you're buying stock. Make sure it's liquid, that you're not buying something that's not liquid. And if it's unliquid stock and you hold a big chunk of it, you might not be able to liquidate it when you want at a good price. So always make sure that the stocks you buy are kind of liquid, especially if you're a major shareholder. You got to make sure your stock is liquid. So yeah. But again, I was a minor shareholder with only 2 shares, so I was not really concerned about that. But yeah, so then on the 29th of December, the stock rose, and it rose to $2,056, and then and that was essentially my price target. Then I thought, well, should I sell now or should I hold? Because, the stock rose this high, maybe it can go even higher. But that's when you gotta stick to your plan. You gotta make sure, if you have laid out a plan, that you actually stick to your plan. Because if not, then your trades become gambling. So you could keep saying, what if it's the stock rises? Well, what if? But you gotta stick to your plan, because otherwise you're just gambling. So I sold, and I looked at the price, and then it went up to $2,070, and then I thought that, well, 2,064, it was around that I thought, let me sell, and I sold with a limit order to make sure that I sold both shares at that price. So that's what I did. So essentially, I doubled my money within a little over a year. Around a year, a little over. So my stock my stock trade with Samsung, it worked. And maybe this stock goes even higher. We can see now that it's at $2,070. Maybe it goes higher. I don't know. But I know this. I only did this trade because I looked at the Samsung stock back then and thought, well, this is just irrational. It should go higher because Samsung is a solid company. The previous years it was even higher. So we were essentially at bear market levels back in 2022 now. And even though Samsung had its struggles, I was pretty convinced that here's a good opportunity to buy the stock. And then when the political crisis struck, I doubled down on my trade. And again, I went into this trade to double my money. So when it did that, I sold as I wanted to, because you gotta stick to your plan. So again, this is just to tell you guys why I sold my Samsung shares. I believe that Samsung is a solid company. I believe it will stick around for many years, but I don't have faith in being a Samsung stock trade as a Samsung shareholder long term. I'm not convinced that the shares are going to keep going up. I believe Samsung will have its struggles. There's a lot of competition right now, and the phone market in general is tough right now because it hasn't really evolved that much. Like phones for the past 10 years has pretty much just been the last generation, but better. There hasn't really been a major disruption in the market, in the phone market. Samsung, I know, of course, they make a lot of other things besides phones, but, when I think about Samsung, I think phones, I think tablets, and I think TVs. So, yeah, maybe a bad decision to sell, but again, I went into the trade to double my money, and that's what I did. And you gotta stick to your plan. So yeah, that's just my thoughts on why I sold Samsung and why I bought Samsung. So if you like this video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Share with all your friends and family and your dog and whatever you have. And if you want to see more, let me know, because I think I will start making more content about stocks and crypto and trading in general. It's pretty exciting. It's fun stuff. But again, don't become a degen. And here, at last, I just want to make a little plug, and that is for my decentralized cryptocurrency exchange. It's cross-chain DEX called Depouch, where you can buy, sell, and trade a lot of cryptocurrencies like native Bitcoin, XRP, Cardano, Litecoin, and all that good stuff for a very low fee. and without any KYC or anything like that, because we're a DEX. So yeah, make sure to check that out if you're into cryptocurrency. Now, I myself am a big cryptocurrency guy, and yeah, you probably know that already by looking at my YouTube channel, or maybe you don't, but now you do. All right, well, that's it. I'll see you guys in the future.